most active team in NFL free agency through 2 days so far. You guessed it, your Washington Commanders continued getting active today as two more signings were made. One, a bit of a shocker and something that nobody's had so far. Washington goes and brings in backup quarterback Marcus Mariota for 1 year. It says $6 million, but I believe it's $8 million contract with incentives that could bring it up to a 1 year, $10 million if he starts a certain amount of games for the team. And Washington goes out and gets edge rusher Cleland Ferrell of the San Francisco 49ers, a guy Adam Peters knows very well, a guy who started ahead of our former edge rusher Chase Young in San Francisco all year this year for the 49ers. Lots to discuss per usual with this team, but let's start with the quarterback situation. All offseason, I've said, I've repeated it multiple times, I didn't feel the need to go out and spend $8 to $10 million for backup quarterback when you can just continue to roll with the young guy who showed he's plenty capable enough to start in this league, Sam Howell, to be the backup quarterback. Like, why did we need to spend 8 to 10 million on another quarterback when we're taking one at 2, when we have a backup that's plenty good enough and young and making less than $1 million? Well, Washington answered those questions today when they went out and signed former Heisman Trophy winner, former second overall pick, Marcus Mariota, to a 1-year contract, where if for some reason he has to get trotted out on the field for a certain amount of starts this year and certain production numbers are hit, could make up to $10 million for the Commanders this year. And this sent all the theory light bulb ideas to my head. Does this immediately tip Washington's hand in the NFL draft? Because when you look at Marcus Mariota, there's a very specific archetype for the type of quarterback he is. 6'4", 220-pound quarterback, capable of running for 700 yards to 1,000 yards in a season. I'm looking at Marcus Mariota's Heisman Trophy winning season. You can draw so many parallels to a very specific prospect. So you mean to tell me in 2014, Marcus Mariota threw for over 4,000 yards, threw for 40 touchdowns, ran for about 800 yards and 15 touchdowns, won the Heisman, won the camp, he won every single quarterback award in 2014. He won the Heisman, the Maxwell, the Camp, the Manning, the Davey O'Brien, the Unitas, and was AP College Football Player of the Year, and was picked second overall. Who picked second overall in the NFL draft coming up next month in April? Our Washington Commanders. Who does everybody point their fingers to for who Washington is drafting next month? Jayden Daniels, a guy who won the Heisman Trophy award this year, a guy who ran for 1,000 yards this year in over 10 rushing touchdowns, a guy who threw for 4,000 yards in his Heisman Trophy winning season, a guy who threw for 40-plus touchdowns in his Heisman Trophy winning season. You see what I'm doing here? You see the parallel I'm drawing here? This doesn't necessarily mean that Washington is drafting Jayden Daniels, but it definitely points into that direction. It definitely looks like we're headed there when we go out and make this signing, because we didn't have to sign Marcus Mariota. We were also interested in Sam Darnold, so we can't necessarily pigeonhole Washington into Jayden Daniels, because we could have very well signed Darnold as well. But this does look like the direction Washington could be headed in after bringing in Marcus Mariota. Where was Marcus last year? Playing for offensive coordinator Brian Johnson in Philadelphia, backing up Jalen Hurts. Where's Brian Johnson now? He is now the passing game coordinator for Washington's offense. So they're bringing in a guy with connections to the coaching staff. Every single player we've brought in so far is connected to somebody that's in Washington's building, whether that's Adam Peters, Anthony Lynn, Dan Quinn. etc. Now Brian Johnson, Cliff Kingsbury. There's a connection to every player we've brought into this organization this offseason so far. So it doesn't necessarily mean we're going Jayden Daniels and we're tipping our hand for what we're doing, but the parallels are endless to Marcus Mariota and Jayden Daniels. To be perfectly honest, when Mariota was drafted number 2 behind behind Jameis Winston in the 2015 NFL draft, he came into this league with the expectation of what Jayden Daniels is about to come into the league. Expectation-wise, he's expected to be a franchise quarterback that could kill you with his arm and his legs. Same thing. Marcus Mariota had enough arm. Jayden Daniels has enough arm. But their main threat was what they could also do with their legs, their intelligence, the touch that they throw with, because they did not have elite arms. There are so many parallels to draw between Marcus Mariota and Jayden Daniels. But, I mean, one could also say Drake May is plenty mobile enough that he could be compared as well. And you don't always have to typecast your backup quarterback to have the exact same skill set as your starting quarterback, but a lot of teams do it. A lot of teams do it. Jacoby Brissett got a deal to go back to New England. They have their bridge starter in New England. They may be going quarterback as well, but it feels to me like the draft is going to start out Caleb, Jayden, or May, or you can switch May and Daniels. It feels like it's going quarterback to start the NFL draft. And is Washington tipping their hands with their signing of Marcus Mariota? Here are my thoughts on it. In one aspect, I hate it, but in another aspect, I love it for these reasons. We're going to put our King Petty hat on for a second. Washington fans, not me, but a lot of you niggas have an infatuation. You get enamored with backup quarterbacks. I like the Marcus Mariota signing because he will not inspire confidence from any of you niggas. Any of you, I want to build a life and future around a backup quarterback, people in the fan base who still think Taylor Heineke is a franchise quarterback and who thought Brissett could have took us on a run last year. For that weird crowd of the fan base, y'all can go to fuck to sleep, because Marcus Mariota is not going to inspire any of that rhetoric, because we know exactly who Marcus Mariota is, and he is not an NFL starting quarterback. We know that point blank, period. We've seen him in Tennessee, Vegas, Atlanta, where he quit on his team and left early, packed it up, chucked the deuces up, and said, I'm out, after things went awry, and was inevitably benched for Desmond Ridder, who also stinks in this league. We know who Marcus Mariota is. 15,000 passing yards in his career, 93 to 55 touchdown to interception ratio, 17 rushing touchdowns in his career. He was a guy we were discussing as the bridge guy, or someone we wanted to pair up with Sam Howell last year. We're doing it a year later, and let's move the conversation to Sam Howell. With Marcus Mariota being paid $8 to $10 million here as the backup quarterback, that's not third string money. So are we keeping Sam as a third stringer, or are we going to get a day 3 pick for Sam Howell? It appears to me now we may be on the trade Sam Howell wagon. It appears so, because I wouldn't see the need to sign a Marcus Mariota if the plan was to also keep Sam Howell on the roster. So is someone going to be offering us a fifth, or maybe a 4th round pick for Sam Howell? Everybody thought there was going to be this big, robust market for Justin Fields. As of 2 weeks of shopping him, since the combine ended, and now free agency is underway, there's really no market for Justin Fields. So what's the market for Sam Howell if Justin Fields has no market? They think the upside and the ceiling for Fields is so significantly higher, and you know how the league views guys that were former first-round picks. But there's no market for Justin Fields, and the league has pretty much said, we're going to call your bluff, Chicago. We know you need to trade him. So what are we going to give you a pick that you desire for? What are we going to give you a 2nd-round pick for? We know you got to trade him because you're not going to draft Caleb and then keep him. So There's no market for Justin Fields. Kirk just got a bag. The ultimate finesser, heist puller, bag getter. Him and Mike McCartney just secured another 45 M's a year bag for Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles injury in his mid-30s. Atlanta doesn't need a quarterback. Rince Russ just got to deal with the Steelers, where the Broncos are paying him like $40 million. The Steelers only got to pay him $1 million this year. The Steelers do not need a quarterback. The Vikings ended up signing Sam Darnold to be their bridge. They're going to probably either trade up or draft a quarterback in the first round as well. The quarterback carousel is slowly diminishing, and the spots for these guys are going away. The Jets just brought back Tyrod to back up Aaron Rodgers. Where are the spots that are left for a guy like Sam Howell and Justin Fields? Are we talking Denver? Are we talking Denver Broncos? It's not going to be Minnesota. Who's offering a 4th or 5th round pick for Sam Howell? Because if someone offers you it at this point, especially a 4th, you have to immediately take it, because I no longer see the purpose of Sam on the roster. Sam's not a 3rd string quarterback. Sam not ass. Sam better than Marcus Mariota. So us giving Marcus Mariota this bag tells me that they don't have any intention of keeping one Sam Howell on the roster going forward. So I'm expecting in the coming days or during the 2024 NFL draft that Sam Howell is no longer going to be a part of this roster, whether that's to draft his buddy and best friend Drake May or Jayden Daniels. We still don't know, but maybe this signing of Marcus Mariota definitely tips the scale to LSU's Jayden Daniels. But it feels like Sam Howell is definitely out of here after today's move. And Washington also made another move where they signed Cleland Ferrell, former 4th overall pick of Mike Mayock. When Mike Mayock was out in Vegas, he was wilding. He was trying to go against the norm, trying too hard to be the smartest guy in the room. You don't have to listen to consensus opinion, but nobody in the world had Cleland Ferrell being a top 5 pick. They had him projected to go in the 20s, and he was taken with the 4th overall pick. Spent 4 years with the Raiders, didn't get his 5th year option picked up, was moved on from, started every game for the 49ers last year, continued to start even when they traded for Chase Young last year. So for everybody crying for us to bring Chase Young back and who still thinks that Chase Young is a dog, we're 2 days into free agency and ain't nobody sniffed Chase Young yet. He's going to get a 1-year prove-it deal somewhere. Meanwhile, Montez Sweat's making $25 million a year. Boy, how the mighty have fallen. I've been telling you, me and Jaylen been trying to tell y'all for the last couple of years that Chase sucks and Chase don't love ball. But Cleland Ferrell started over him all year. 4 sacks last year, 13 and a half sacks in his 5 years. He's put out Chase Young type production, despite the fact that they both went top 5. Neither probably should have been based on what we've seen in their careers. He's a rotational guy. Dorrance Armstrong has the position versatility to play inside or on the edge. Cleland Ferrell is 100% going to be a pass rusher. He's going to be a pass rushing edge, whether he's starting opposite Armstrong or a rotational guy. He'll probably be competing with a guy like KJ Henry, or if they decide to go draft someone on day 2 or 3 of the NFL draft. But at minimum, we have 2 starters on the edge. Dorrance Armstrong will certainly be starting. Cleland Ferrell probably will be starting opposite him. And if anything, he's an NFL starter. Someone Adam Peters was comfortable offering a contract to. We have better defensive coaching here now. And he has 2 dogs in between him. Cleland Ferrell and Dorrance Armstrong are on paper not going to terrify people. But you have to count the fact that that's Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne in the middle next to him, with Dan Quinn coaching the defense now. This is not Ron and Jack coaching these boys. So it feels like maybe a high floor starter-esque player could be a rotational guy. I wouldn't mind seeing KJ Henry compete to be the starter opposite Dorrance Armstrong on the line, but Cleland Ferrell could be our next F.A. Obata type. Casey Toohill type, since we didn't bring none of them boys back yet. But We went out and signed a backup quarterback. We went out and signed a could-be starter in Cleland Ferrell. He started all year for the team that won the NFC last year. And we still have a big hole at the left tackle position. Could tell you what the draft plans are going to be. Tyron Smith, Andrus Pete, there's still options out there. What are we going to do at safety? Will a Cam Curl deal get done? Doesn't appear to be the most robust market for Cam Curl as well. Doesn't appear to be the most robust market for any of our free agents. Curtis Samuel's flirting with the Kansas City Chiefs right now. I don't think we're going to be bringing back too many of those guys that are current free agents on the roster. I'm interested to see how we handle the left tackle position. Are we going to take a flyer on a Tyron Smith, or are we just going to ignore a vet, period, and just go either draft one at 36 or 40 or trade back into the first round on night one of the NFL draft to handle the left tackle position? My take on it would be I would take one more trip to Dallas land and I would get a 1 year, possibly 2 year, up in incentives, low in value contract for Tyron Smith, because when he's on the field, he's like that. And I would like him to mentor whoever we draft and throw at tackle opposite him on the right side and get him prepared to hop on the left side going forward when Smith either retires or moves forward in a year or two. I'm interested in that. I would like us to do that. Let me know what other free agents you are interested in Washington going out and signing. We have been the most active team through 2 years of free agents. Through 2 days of free agency so far. Frankie Louvu, Austin Eckler, Dorrance Armstrong, Tyler Biotis, Nick Allegretti, Brandon McManus, Zach Ertz, Marcus Mariota, and now Cleland Ferrell. Them boys have been getting hella busy. That's 9 new additions to the offense. That's probably 7 to the team, to the roster. That's probably 7 starters minimum. It's going to look very different when we get here in September, when we get to August, when we get to July for training camp. I'm very excited about how this thing is going. Do you think the signing of Marcus Mariota has any implications or inclinations on what Washington is going to do in the draft? Does the Mariota signing mean Jayden Daniels? Does it mean Drake May? Are you taking anything from the signing? Does it mean Sam Howell's future in Washington is over and we have to trade him now? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Your boy's back at home to make some content. I was absent yesterday because the boys been working 16-hour shifts out here, putting in the double time. But I'm here to react to everything else Washington is doing in free agency. We're a month and a half away from the NFL draft. And Adam Peters said that roster is ass. And I'm going to turn it around immediately, already putting his fingerprints all over this franchise. I love what the team is doing. I'm not going to sit here and say playoff team in year one or no crazy idea of expectations like that. But I like that it doesn't feel that we're putting Band-Aids over bullet holes. It doesn't feel like we're getting fleeced in the negotiation room with these prospects. And it doesn't feel like we're trying to force overnight immediate success. We're just trying to establish an identity, get better players, and get players that fit what we're trying to build here. And if that means a Marcus Mariota as the backup to a Jayden Daniels type quarterback, fuck it, let's roll. Adam Peters, you have my full confidence to build this shit in your vision. Even signings I do not like, I will give you that benefit of the doubt until you prove otherwise, until you've failed me tremendously. Because even in your failures as the assistant GM with the 49ers, y'all built a roster so formidable that you could take a swing for Trey Lance and trade all those picks, miss, and still be in Super Bowl, still be in conference championship. I want that for us. I want to see my team finally see that type of sustained success and contention. Washington is getting absolutely active. If the Mariota signing does spell the end of Sam Howell in DC, I want to thank him for giving it his best shot in 2023. I don't really see a place for him here after the Mariota signing, but let me know in the comments what y'all think of this situation. Cleland Ferrell, Marcus Mariota, you are now Washington Commanders. Welcome to the DMV. Let's roll. Let's see what else we have in store for the rest of free agency. Let's see what the second tier market, or if any of the current impending free agents on the roster are ended up being brought back to DC. That's all I got for right now. Hell to the Washington Commanders. Let me know everything you think in the comments. Until next time, Commander Rio, out.